what we're looking for is a reflection of ourselves as to how do we respond in those situations. And they did that. There's a lot of stuff that we can get better at in that game. But our guys, the mentality and the focus this week was a lot better than last week. And it's not easy to win on the road, and we did it.
The fourth down throw at the end, what did you see from your vantage point? Where was Riley supposed to be in that progression?
Yeah, Riley was running a little corner stop route, and so Mitch got flushed out of the pocket, and that happens a lot, you know. And again, for some of the struggles that we had this week offensively, again in a game-winning situation, tough environment, Mitch made a play of scrambling outside, and then Riley getting into scrambling mode and turning it into a broken down play and making a catch, and so that 4th and 9, and then again the 3rd and 2. To chew up the clock there before we ended up kicking that field goal. I thought that those were two really big plays by our offense.
When you evaluate Mitch, how does that one play maybe stand out above the rest?
Sure. Well, they all matter. I can remember last year you guys asked me in regards to how do you evaluate a quarterback, right? And we talked about, I talked about wins and losses. And all the other stuff, the stats, sometimes there can be false numbers. End of game, you're throwing 2 men and you throw for 350 yards, and it's not real. But situational football in crucial times, I think Mitch has shown what he can do in those scenarios. He's done that over his career. We just want to make sure as we go through this thing that we really, really learn on all the other stuff, which is going to happen. You know, taking time on learning how to get better with everything that involves playing the quarterback position. On top of that, we want to do that, Ryan and myself as well, with a lot of different areas with the team, you know, offense, defense, special teams, and then we'll have a big focus on offense.
Man, I think Allen Robinson had 98 catches for the year.
98?
Yeah. When you reflect on just the season he's had, given that there were struggles at times this year offensively, but it seems like he was the guy that really for the whole year kind of stood out.
You're right. He from the very beginning, he was the constant. Just he was always the same every game. You could rely on him on big catches wherever that was, red zone, 3rd down, end of game, 2-minute. But the beauty for me and the appreciation that I have as a coach is just the way I can't emphasize enough how great it is in the fact of how he handles himself away from game day, you know, and. These wide receivers that we have, for them to understand the importance of having a guy like him to see how to do it every day. And so when you transfer it to the field as a play caller and as a coach, it goes a long way. It means a lot, and I'm very appreciative of that.
How much of a positive was it for you the way Eddie finished the season? What do you think he'll do for his confidence, especially after that little slump in the season?
Right. The slumps, again, are natural. I think making sure that we don't panic when you go through that slump is the most important part. Somebody just told me, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's made 11 in a row, his last 11. Is it 12? So, and then to make, 4 today? You know, for us, y'all know that was a huge, big void that we had going into this year. I feel pretty good that void is filled, and I like the way we handled it in regards to the coaches, and I like the way that Eddie and his guys, just all in all. So I feel like that's a positive from this year.
I know you don't make roster decisions, but does a guy like Nick Lukowski look like someone that could start 16 games, just the way that he seems to make a lot of plays whenever he's out there, makes more plays, they have a big safety?
Yeah, that safety he made was big time now. That was a big time hole and not in a lot of space there, and he made a play, a nice tackle. Again, just go back to, I go to the appreciation of a guy that's a backup on a team that comes in throughout this whole year and is always very focused and had opportunities. He's a guy that took major advantage of opportunities given to him. And so as a coach that coaches him, I know as defensive guys, the appreciation factor is high. And so he's a talented player, and on a football team, you always want to make tough decisions. You know, that means that you have good players, and that's kind of where we're at.
What are you most looking forward to in this next phase when you get a chance to zoom out and figure out all of it? What are you personally looking forward to?
Yeah, so for me, it can't get here soon enough. It's you know, for me, that 2020 starts right now, literally the second I walk off this stage. And I'll do it the right way. I'll get away just for a little bit for my mind, so that when I do get back on this thing, it's focused, it's clear and concise. But I'm ready to go in attack mode and figure out with Ryan how we want to go about this thing. And there's a lot of stuff that for us to look at. It's not one thing. It's all 3 phases, and that's our job. That's why we're here, is to do that. So it's a challenge. I accept it, and I'm looking forward to it.
What are the Two more.
No, there's a lot. I mean, for me to sit here and talk about it right now is going to be hard, but that's not going to happen here in the next day. It's not going to happen in this next week. It's going to happen over time. But I think the biggest thing that we need to do is we need to create a plan for all that. And that plan does take a little bit of time for us. But in the end, Ryan and I will do what's best for our organization, and we're going to do it full steam ahead.
Matt, what's your message to the team there after the game, and what do you want them to be going into this offseason thinking?
So the message was, number one, I appreciate the fight all year long. We had a tough year. It was mentally challenging for all of us, but they fought through that. I like that. So I called them fighters. They're a bunch of fighters. And the message is that every year is always different. So regardless of it, next year is going to be completely different with completely different players. I hope that all of us understand, players and coaches, that what we went through this year, yet we need to turn that into a glass half full deal and learn from it. If you don't learn from it, then shame on you. You got to learn from it, and that's going to be our number one job, is to make sure each person does that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.